Here's why you are not the problem when you're in a relationship with an avoidant. Hi, I'm Amy, and welcome to my channel. Here we discuss spirituality and psychology around relationships. And in this video, I'm going to talk about specifically anxious attachment, or if you're fearful, avoidant, leaning towards anxious attachment, you might have this underlying belief that you are the problem. And maybe you're thinking, since you discovered attachment styles, that, oh, it's my attachment style that's the problem. I'm pushing this person away. But I can tell you from experience and from other clients that I've spoken to that this isn't the case. Yes, you're responsible for your side of the street. Yes, you're responsible for some of your actions and for your own actions and behaviors. You are not entirely responsible for the failure of this relationship. And I went through this too, where I used to think, oh, it's me, it's my anxiety, it's my fear of abandonment that's causing this rift between me and this person. And I often notice with anxious attached people that they fail to see the other side of what's going on. They make it very much about them and how they need to improve and what they need to let go of, completely ignoring the fact that they're with somebody who has very poor communication skills, very poor intimacy skills, somebody who isn't able to feel their feelings freely. They ignore that and make it so that they are the problem. And I've even spoken to people that were perfectly secure until they got into a relationship with an avoidant, and now they're anxiously attached, because being in a relationship with somebody who is dismissive avoidant is going to make you anxiously attached, regardless of what your relationship history is, regardless of what your background is. It is going to make you feel a certain level of anxiety because they're so closed off and because they keep their cards so close to the chest. Of course, you're going to feel anxious. And this is not your problem. You are not the cause of this person's dismissive nature. You are not the reason why they can't access their own feelings. You're not the reason why they don't feel comfortable in relationships and can't express themselves and can't communicate in a vulnerable way. You might be made to feel like you're the problem because that person will have super inflexible, impenetrable boundaries that you might think, oh my God, I'm overstepping their boundaries, when their boundaries were completely unreasonable in the first place. You might have experienced ghosting in the relationship or even blocking in the relationship. So, of course, you are going to feel anxious. Of course, you are going to want to know what's going on, because that kind of behavior is going to make anyone feel anxious and unworthy and God knows what, because of that behavior. And I feel like a lot of anxious attached people tend to ignore that and make it so that they are 100% responsible for the failure of the relationship. And this is very, very rarely the case. So what I would recommend that you do is sit and journal on it. What were the facts? Take the feelings out of it for now. What were the facts of the relationship? What did this person do? And I don't want you to sit there and make excuses for that behavior, because you haven't made anybody do anything. You haven't caused this person's dismissive attachment style. It came long, long, long ago before you even showed up. You might be blamed for it. This person might say, well, I'm like this because you have a fear of abandonment, because you don't trust me. Ignore the fact that this person behaved in a way that was very difficult to trust. So I want you to write down the facts of this relationship. What behavior did they display? And don't make it that, oh, but I said this, so they said this. I want you to really look at it objectively. Look at this person objectively. What was their behavior? And was their behavior fair? How did you feel when they ghosted you, when they wouldn't talk to you, when they threatened to leave the relationship? How did you feel when that happened? And really start to learn how to validate your own emotions and feelings and thoughts around the behavior. Because when you're in a relationship with somebody that's avoidant, you will want to suppress your feelings. You will want to go into codependent behavior in order to keep the status quo of the relationship. Like, I knew exactly what I needed to say to this person to get them to calm down and to get them to feel safe again. And, going back, I wish I wouldn't have done that, but I did because I knew what was coming. And even though there were codependent patterns that I needed to heal, it didn't mean that I was responsible for their behavior. It didn't mean that they didn't have autonomy over what they said, how they behaved, and what their actions were. It didn't mean that. So I want you to accept that you are not 100% responsible for this relationship ending, and don't take responsibility for what their actions, their feelings, their thoughts were, and eventually what happened. But I do want you to take responsibility for your side of the street. So if it is that you've developed an anxious attachment style being in this relationship, that does need addressing. And if you develop codependent behaviors, that needs addressing. And you can do this. This is your work. This is how you're going to improve. But don't do it because you want to do this so that I can get back into this relationship in the hope that they're going to behave differently because I'm behaving differently. Don't do that. You're doing it for yourself. And I can guarantee you, once you start to move towards more secure, you'll be able to see their behavior more and more and more as unacceptable to you. Because ultimately, it's not acceptable to just ghost somebody. It's not acceptable to hold the security of a relationship over someone's head. It's not acceptable to use someone's fear as a way to control them. So I hope you found that video helpful. If you did, drop a comment below. I will put all my links in my bio, but I will see you in the next video.